So what we're going to do is with this response, we're going to set an internal container. So I'm going to do classes dot, we'll say nav container here. And then that'll come down. That'll come down. Let's just reformat it. So then anything that is a link here, we can, what can we do? So we can set all of this stuff as we have the footer section, which is the top level section, which is setting the background. We can then, in our nav container, move everything down. So we can do nav container, and then ideally we should be able to do color white here. This is not the color that we want to use, but let's just see if it works. Okay, it works for some things, but not others. Weird. So let's go ahead and just get classes on everything real quick. So we have our nav container, good. So we have our links, which is just going to be every A. So really what we can just do is do anything that's an A and really anything that is P. So that is that taken care of. But also in the nav container, so that's the only nested field that I want to use here. So we're going to display, we're going to do flex. Just to set it explicitly, we're going to do flex direction row, and we'll do flex wrap, and we'll do flex, and we'll do 0. So it's not going to grow, it will shrink. And we'll say, I guess we have 4, so we can do 20, we'll do 25%. And so what we're going to do is we're going to set this as a calc, and we're going to set a gap too. So we're going to subtract the gap as well. So gap 1 rem. So now this should lay it out flat at the bottom, which it does indeed. And so there's some styling things that we need to adjust here as well. So if we can actually set our font size, we'll clamp it between 1 rem and probably too much, 1.2 rem. Then we'll align items center. We'll align items top, actually. That makes more sense. Start, flex, start. There we go. So we're still seeing something a little weird here. So let's take a look at our inspector. And we go inside the section, we go inside the div, and the issue is probably a padding or a margin on the, it's not actually. So let's just see what happens if I do margin 0, nope, padding 0, nope. So interesting. So we'll come back to that here in a second, because within the nav container, we have our nested. So we'll do class name, classes.nested. We'll call this nested container. Then we can do classes.nested header. And then for the links, we will nest a field here in our SCSS. So we can go to our, let's see what we should do first. The nested container. And we go here and we're going to do a display of flex, and we'll do a flex direction of column. We will align items flex start. There's that. We will have our same gap of 1 rem. So I don't actually like that. Probably a little too much. So we can do 0.5 rem. And that looks a little bit better. So maybe if I set our P here, let's see if I can do it here. Just do a span instead. Yeah, so if we set it to a span, so it's in line, hopefully bring me to the bottom, it will not. All right, so now all of this is looking good. We will do a container. That's in line items, so we need to justify content. We'll do space between. And that takes up the full width here, all the way around. And so that doesn't look terrible for what we're trying to do. So now let's bring in a couple things. So first, underneath all of this, we're just going to do a div that's going to be at the bottom, which is going to be, we'll say a span, and we'll do copyright. So if I do new date, get full year, which is what I thought I was just doing, but guess not. We have our copyright 2024. That is caught in our flex though, so we just need to get it down and out of the way. Then, so we'll do copyright, and we can just do, and it'll be codes. There's that, and then we can do our class name, do classes dot copyright, and we can just do, since it'll be the very bottom, we can do our copyright section, which is going to be a color of, let's get this into the actual color, light primary. We can do the same thing here, light primary, and so turn it into the green rather than the plain white. And so copyright, we can then set a margin top for 1 rem. And then there seems to be some kind of padding here at the bottom. So the padding is from the actual container. We're going to leave that as it is. And so now we are going to set this to a small font size, which I wonder, can I just do smaller and see what happens here? Yeah, that's perfect. And then we should just be able to do text align center. And we need a little bit more margin at the top there. And this static route thing is going to keep popping up and mess with me as I'm working on the footer. All right, and so now if I wanted to, I could add just a nice little horizontal rule here, which I don't want to add. But I do want to add back here and do light primary and do something that looks a little bit more faded. So not that it's hard to read, but it's definitely different from everything else. So now we need to add our logo. So if I go back to the nav, we're going to take the globals, and we're going to try and grab that landscape logo. So again, going to log our globals response so we can see what everything is. And yes, of course, I could be looking at the API within PayloadCMS, but why when I can just do this? So we're going to have our globals.logos.landscape logo. .file name is really what I'm looking for here, which I'm looking for most of it. So we will leave this log here so I can more easily see all of what I'm looking for. And we'll put it at the top of everything. So we can do an image object, and our image is going to be our, well, first we'll do, I don't think I have to do that actually. So I can do our globals.logos.landscape logo. So how did I do this before? Well, I had to do it in the nav, right? So let's change it from an image object to a logo object. So what we can do then is do globals.logos.landscape logo. Okay, so that's not working either. Though if I look over here, the logo will pop up. And so here we actually want to use a white logo anyway, so we'll replace that in a moment. So, and honestly, we're going to shrink that down quite a bit. So we see that the image is doing the right thing. So maybe I'm overthinking this again. So logo, I think I am. So if we do logo, all right, well, bottom line is I'm getting the image, and that's what I want to do right now. So we're going to add a class name. We'll do classes.logo. So This is gonna be at the top because it's, well, almost the top. And we'll do logo, and we'll do display flex probably, justify content, flex start, nope, start. So if we do logo, we get rid of all of that. Then here, get all this logo stuff here. Okay, that's fine. So we're not doing square logo. We're going to change all of that to our landscape logo. Let that do its thing. So now we don't have an error. Great. But we also don't have any classes attached to this. It's not the end of the world. But I was expecting it to have something. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I think I just need to leave this alone. And so there we have that. We can get rid of all of this. We can get rid of that class name. We can go here, that needs to stay. Here on types, don't need a class name on this because there's no way to pass it down apparently. All right, here's an idea. So I need all of that data. So what I can do is do const, do an image equals then an image, which is gonna have a width, which is gonna be all of this. Or 640. And then we'll need a height or 360. Then we'll need alt description, which may be an empty string. Then we also need, what do we need? So if this is image object type, need the file name. And then ID if we want it, but I don't think we need it. So then we can just do image. What's missing? So if we do image, is image, then we're good. All right, so now though, I do want the creator to be included in this. So let's see if it is. Do you have this? I guess it just had to figure out the different data types. Okay, so there is the, it looks like there's the creator data and it is from, I don't know if it's the right one, but anyway, so we're gonna come here, we're gonna do a class name, we'll do classes.logo. So in the footer, we have logo, which is what this is driving me, not what it actually is. We got our logo, and then we have, we'll do a width of, we'll say like 4 rem, and do a height of auto. Okay, not quite what I was looking for. We'll add a div around it, and we'll do class name classes.logo container. And then set our logo container to display flex. And then wait. So don't want it to grow. Logo container. Go to our logo. So let's do something like just a width 10 rem then. Okay. Still a little small, but let's go ahead and do our margin bottom. Nope. 1 rem. Perfect. And then we can replace that with a white logo so it actually shows up well. But let's do a little bit wider. Yeah, so it looks better. Add a little bit more spacing to the bottom. Whoa, not 21. That's not what I want. There we go. And then if we expand, nothing happens, and that's fine with me. So all that looks good right now. And then we can come down over to our uploads. We're gonna load up our global settings, our landscape logo. We are going to, do I have the white one in here? I don't. So we're gonna create new, we'll select a file, and we'll do the web design images. There they are. And we'll just pick a fully white one. There we go, we can take that one. Hit save. Oh, that's for the dark mode, whoops. So, while that would still work, we can just choose from existing and use the one that we just used. Then when I refresh, shows up as white, which is perfect, exactly what I was looking for. So, cool, we got the footer done and working how we want it to. We do want to make this industries look a little bit different. Otherwise, people may be able to think that they can click on it. So we know that we have this as a span, and all future ones will also be a span. So we can do color, we'll do our light primary 70, we'll do text decoration underline, so that makes it look a little less clickable, honestly. And so we'll also do pointer events none, so when it's hovered over, nothing happens. So you can still select it, but nothing else will happen there. And so what we may want to do then is at smaller screen sizes, we'll want to change to row, I think, at a larger screen size. So what we can do is we'll say include medium small break, flex direction row, but before that we have our flex direction column. And so also with this then, we'll do our nested container, and we'll do a background color of, let's say, like maybe the light secondary color with a color, the dark primary, and a padding. Yeah, 0.5 rem should be plenty. So here, we just need everything inside to be that color. And then also we can actually include rounded. So we want our variables to pop on over here. So let's see if I have to drop an important here. I do. I think that's cool with me, and so we'll do just a little bit of a wider rem on the, only on the right though. So we can do 0.5 rem, and then 0 on the left. Need to do a little bit. So we can do 0.5 and 1. Okay. So I don't love having to use important, and I'm not actually sure why I'm having to use it there. Not a big deal though. We want to get everything centered, so flex, justify, center. Yeah, this one. Center. Okay. Still not working like I want it to. I got that. Oh, that's the logo container. That's why. So the footer section then, not what I'm looking for. Flex direction column. Justify, so this actually should stay the same, and then I can do a line items center, and that should get it centered if I do it right. There we go. And then, so same thing here, line items center. So that's a bit more appropriate for a mobile navigation menu. And then we can add a little bit of padding to these to make them a little bit easier to click on. So we don't want that though. Well, honestly not terrible on this screen size, but I don't think it's necessary. They should be very easily clicked on even with a thumb. I just don't want to ruin how this looks. All right, so then we open up a little bit. We can go then to our medium small break, which let's actually set it to small, which should be this here. Perfect. And so yes, flex direction should go to row. Justify content, space between is already there, but align items top, our flex start. And then here we can do our small, or include small break. Or I guess we can just set this back to light primary. I guess we have to use important again. I don't know why. It's not really what I want either, so that's right. So again, I don't really know why this needs to be important when I'm, maybe if I unset, whatever, just set it back to primary, important, and then we will also align items, flex start. Or actually, we could probably leave that centered. Yeah, that looks better. All right, cool. So I think this is a good place to stop. We have our footer in place with our links and our logo and all this. That looks good to me. And what that means then is, and I'm actually gonna write it down this time, what we need to work on next is we are in our pages and our slug. So I think what we'll do, oh wait, we need to work on a hero section. So here, let's do this. To do, we need the hero section. Then we will build out a couple pages. And then we will, after that, build out the blog. And then once we finish all of that, we will work on schema to make sure that works. All right. And then we'll be done with this template, I think.